The next item is item number 6, an application for a certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 15-3878, block 1407, lot 57, 1016 Lexington Avenue in the Upper East Side Historic District Extension. A neo-Grec-style row house designed by Tom and Wilson and built in 1880 to 81 and altered with the installation of a storefront. The application is to replace storefront infill and install an awning. This was read into the record on June 17th.
Yeah. Hi, I missed you, yeah. Congratulations, yeah. Yay.
We need to get out of your way here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Emma Waterloo, Preservation Staff. The item before you is for 1016 Lexington Avenue in the Upper East Side Historic District Extension. The building is located mid-block on the west side of Lexington Avenue between 72nd and 73rd Streets. For your reference, this is the historic tax photograph. When this proposal was first filed with the Commission, the existing storefront looked like this. None of the infill was historic. While the permit application was pending, this temporary storefront was installed without Landmarks Preservation Commission permits and is the current condition at this building. The applicants have indicated that this was intended as a temporary installation after the existing storefront was damaged during interior renovations. So the proposal is to replace the modern infill installed without permits with a new metal storefront featuring operable doors. They are also proposing a retractable awning and with a coat light underneath of it. The project applicant, Ron Capels, is here to further explain the proposal.
Hearing open, please. Motion and second. Thank you.
Hello, Ron Capels, here representing the owners, and John Nagasi is the record on the project. This is in the
Wow.
Upper East Side Extension District. Again, to reiterate, we have the historic photograph which shows it was in the 1940s. It was a pet shop. This is what it looked like when we arrived as of this year. There was a temporary storefront installed after damage occurred to the existing storefront during the installation of the pizza oven. And the proposed awning and storefront, as is proposed, the three basic conditions prior existing,
There you
the
go.
intermediary and the proposed, and again, the same with the elevations.
Thanks, I
Once
guess.
again, the historic 1941 photograph of it from the tax map. Houses here, there is an existing two-story frame on the building with windows and details above which stay intact. The idea is to maintain that two-story frame, having the awning insert in between the two framed elements of it. The doors are basically steel and glass doors, articulated with the lower panel.
Must be good for me.
Once again, just a blow up of the detail of the proposed storefront and awning. The coloration of the storefront is one of these. That is the coloration of the proposed awning, which has been changed from a fuchsia awning due to community board disapproval of that. There's a series of photographs of other units within other structures within the district itself, on Lexington Avenue itself, indicating a similar articulation of storefronts that have occurred and been approved prior. This is the proposed street view with the storefront articulated.
Okay, questions? Around the table. This is read into the record, so we'll have testimony, so we'll come back to you in a moment. We'll take the testimony right now with Michael Hall.
Michael Hall, Friends of the Upper East Side. As you all know, Friends fought hard for the Upper East Side Historic District extension, and in reviewing this application, we found ourselves questioning how we can establish standards for the future of our beloved streetscape. The Lexington Avenue storefronts are a key part of the historic district, and so these applications are important. The proposed storefront infill composed solely of operable doors is inappropriate. For precedent, the applicant relies on non-historic storefronts installed prior to designation, which were grandfathered and do not comply with the LPC rules. Friends finds no reason to allow an exception to the storefront rules in this case. We ask the commission to disapprove the application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other testimony? Community Board 8 is approving of everything except the color, but you then indicated that the color has changed, so presumably that is approval of everything, or at least the disapproval will be dropped for the color. And it's a 36-0 vote. Comment or response to what's been said?
Traditionally, again, there is an ad hoc condition to what is currently at the streetscape everywhere. And there's enough precedence both within the district on Madison Avenue, and which was a part of the original district, and on Lexington, whether these were prior to the designation done storefronts or post-designation storefronts. There is enough contextual condition to allow, I believe, for an operable door storefront.
An operable. Okay.
I have one.
Yeah, yes.
In terms of the awning,
Yes.
the entrance to the building is actually underneath the awning, right? Doesn't that sort of confuse the,
Actually, if you look at Lexington Avenue and on the block in particular, you have the same condition occurring 2 stories down. The signage is contextual. All the adjacent stores do have that same awning going from end to end. So it's something that I found quite often on Lexington Avenue as well. Not only particular to this block, but and even if you look at the historic condition, signage occurred from edge to edge on almost every storefront that occurred there. So
Okay.
there is at least a historic nature.
Okay. Discussion, thank you.
Okay.
Michael?
I think that generally the application is appropriate with one suggestion for a modification. If you do look at the existing photos and the historic ones, signage or canopies tend to occur right under the windowsill of the second floor, concealing the depth of the spandrel. And I would suggest that that would be a minor change that could be done at
Okay.
staff level that would bring it into harmony.
Good. Michael?
I agree with that comment. I think the awning should be moved up, but also you are correct that they tend to stretch along the entire circle.
Fred?
I would agree with that, but, regardless, that we see it stretching across historically, or at least in some of the historic photographs, I think the precedent is a poor one, and that the entrance to the building should remain without a canopy, or else we're just going to have canopies for the entire street length. And I think that the staccato effect of a canopy over a retail operation is just a better streetscape all the way around. So I would be in favor of not allowing it to go all the way across. I'm not sure others will join me in that.
I actually am persuaded by the precedent of sign bans and canopies elsewhere. I do think that there's arguably confusion about the entrance to these 2 different functions, but at the same time, the proportion of the building, there's not enough of a building left over when you just have the door. So I think that width is okay. And I agree that it should be dropped down to reveal the, or dropped up, whichever way it needs to be dropped. And that the storefront is appropriate.
Okay, Chris? Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, I agree that it's generally appropriate, and I think I'm also persuaded by the canopy, the sort of prevalence of an existing situation with the canopy in terms of, covering the entire, which we don't usually go for. And also, I agree with Michael's remark about the positioning of the canopy, just to, between the two floors.
Okay.
Yeah,
Roberta?
I also, I guess I had a question, but I think that what they have, because the building is narrow, or is not in especially wide building, that it could work on this.
Okay. So I think with Michael's formulation, I'd approve it as well. And close this hearing now. Motion and second, please, if you would. Michael?
All right. Regarding 1016 Lexington Avenue in the Upper East Side Historic District Extension, the application is to replace storefront infill and install an awning. I recommend approval with a modification, finding that the removal of the existing infill cladding and resurfacing of the masonry at the ground floor will not cause the removal of any significant historic fabric, that the alterations will maintain the storefront opening at its original height. Pairs of bifolding doors with solid panels at the bottom of the doors and at the Broadway facade, at the Lexington Avenue facade, will recall the basic organization, proportions, and ratio of solid devoid of historic storefronts at the buildings of this type, style, and age, and be consistent with the design and operation of several modern storefronts present in the district, that the limited width of the bifolding doors placed within the masonry enframement of the ground floor and between existing piers will maintain the visual perception of the upper floors being supported by the lower floors, that the proposed black painted finish of the storefront infill will be in keeping with this historic color palette of a building of this style and age, that the proposed awning will be consistent with awnings historically found in buildings of this type and style in terms of shape, material, and finish, that the signage on the awning skirt will be in keeping with types of signage historically found in the buildings of this type, age, and style, that the modest amount and size of the signage will not detract from the storefront of the building, and that the cove lighting will be simply designed and its placement at the top of the storefront opening and beneath the retractable awning housing will help it to remain a discrete presence in the streetscape. However, the applicant will move the proposed canopy awning location so that its top is at the underside of the window above it.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you. Thank you.